In today's video, we're going to talk about how to find and keep the best long-term tenants to decrease the potential of damages, increase the potential of on-time payments, and keep your cash flow flowing. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned and let's go. Hey guys, it's DM and welcome back to Lifestyle Leaps. Today we are talking about the top 5 ways to find and keep high quality long-term tenants. Now, the difference between a quality tenant and a bad tenant could be tens of thousands of dollars. You're talking about potential eviction costs where they're not paying rent for months, or major damages, or gaps between stays because you're having to repair the damages and you can't put a new tenant in place. So we're going to talk about the top 5 ways to find and keep qualified tenants. And the first way is to ensure that you actually have a quality product, a quality rental to offer up. So some of the ways that you can control that would be even at the purchasing process when you decide which place to buy. You don't want to have the worst home in the best neighborhood, and you don't want to have the best home in the worst neighborhood. And honestly, you don't want to have a home in the worst neighborhood, period. So the location of the home, the exterior curb appeal and appeal in general, and then the usability, so the appliances that you have inside, and lastly, the cleanliness of the unit. The more desirable your unit is, the more options you have as potential tenants to pick from. And the more options you have, the more likely you're going to be able to find the best tenant for you. Another factor in providing a quality space is, I know this is true for me, when I go into, let's say, even a rental, a hotel rental, the nicer it is, the more inclined I'm going to be to keep the place tidy and kept after during my stay. And that mentality is true, right? Like when you have a nice thing, you want to keep it nice. But when you have a thing that you don't really care about, you're not going to care about it. And so providing a clean, usable, desirable place, people will want to keep it nice for you in the duration of their tenancy. Number 2, set competitive rents and offer small incentives. So first, make sure you do your market research to find out what are the comparables for rents of homes that are similar to what you're offering in the same neighborhood. And you want to be competitive with them, or even slightly priced lower. The reason why? Because again, we talked about having a larger application pool. You want to have a wide range of tenant options to pick from. Then you can offer small amenities, for example, like incentivized longer term leases. What if you offered an incentive for a 2-year lease over a 1-year lease? Or could you offer market rent, but then offer some utilities covered for? What if you allowed for pets even? So there are things that you can do to, again, attract more tenants and thereby being able to select the better tenant. Number 3, having clear and fair lease agreements. Now, needless to say, you need to have a lease. This is a contract between you and the tenant to ensure that both of you have set out terms that you both agree to. And making that lease fair is really important so that the tenant can build trust with you in this very long-term relationship. So if you start putting things in there that seem unfair or taking advantage of the tenant, they're not likely going to have that trust and thereby take care of your property. Some of the things that you should consider is how to handle guests, how to handle maintenance, what are you going to do about late payments? And if you clearly define those things out in a lease, you're going to reduce the misunderstandings and you're going to reduce potential legal issues because they're not able to argue what they have signed and agreed to on that lease as long as it is clear and fair. Make sure that you're not simply just handing them a lease to sign or sending them a link for the lease to sign. It's really important that you actually do verbally go over each of the section in the lease to make sure that, 1, they understand that, but 2, you're creating an impression on them that you really care about each of the components on the lease and that you mean it. The other part is it allows for them to ask any questions, any clarifying questions to help them better understand your agreement in how they will be living in this space. Number 4, prioritizing tenant communication and responding quickly. So responding quickly doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna like act immediately, but you wanna acknowledge your tenant when they're making a complaint, request, maintenance request, anything like that. So for me, since I self-manage my properties, I won't fix something right away if it's not urgent, but I'll say the next time I'm gonna work on this is Wednesday, so I'll circle back with you then. But then if it's urgent, then I'm gonna respond to it right then. So what it communicates to them is that I'm being responsive, I'm treating them with priority and urgency when it matters, and that then hopefully with law of reciprocation, right? Reciprocity, they will also treat me and the property the same way. Regular check-ins can build a great rapport with tenants, and it allows them to also bring up smaller issues without fear that there's going to be a negative consequence. And by that I mean, let's say there's a slow drip under the sink. If they don't like you, if they don't feel like a rapport and want to talk to you, they might not report that. And that small leak under the sink could turn into major cabinetry damage over time, mold and mildew. So it is really important to foster a communicative and responsive relationship with your tenant because it's actually going to protect your property. The last and most powerful way that you can find the best tenants is to ensure you have a really strong tenant screening process. What I mean by that is you want to essentially assess as best you can at the early part of their tenancy, which is during the screening, that they have the ability to pay for the rent, that they are stable, responsible, on time. And so the ways in which you can do that, you can do the background screening, credit screening, reference checks from employers, reference checks from previous landlords. This will help you get a better picture of their ability to pay and their consistency. Your tenant screening process is the first line of defense to ensure that you are giving access to tenants who will be responsive and pay on time. If you want more information about tenant screening, I have this other video that my friend asked me to make when she was placing her first tenant in her home when she bought a replacement property. If you found any of this information helpful, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit the like button and the subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.